Welcome back to User Behavior Insights, and we move on to heat maps. A user behavior feature tightly connected to session recordings is heat maps. Going through thousands of recordings and watch them all is impossible. But if you use heat maps, the information from those recordings can be aggregated into click, movement, and scroll maps that instantly show you patterns of usage inferred from all those recordings. For example, you might see 2 or 3 recordings of people clicking on an element on your page, but this is not enough to decide that that is a pattern. Viewing heat maps of that same page, you see if the majority of users interact with that element the same way. So maybe you have hundreds of people actually clicking there. If in the heat map, the color of that element is dark red, then there is high activity on it. If it's bluish, then there is little to no activity on it. Heat maps are a lot more visual than your usual analytics reports. It makes them more accessible, particularly for people who are not accustomed to analyzing data. Heat map colors range from dark red to cold blue to indicate the level of interaction with the page element. You can easily see your website hotspots, the way users navigate, and the areas that are most or least interacted with. The warmer the color, the more the interest. Based on this color scheme, you can adjust the website design to match the attention focal points shown in the heat map. Moving important elements from the cold, bluish areas to the hot, red areas would certainly be advised. Creating a new heat map for a page on your website is that easy. In the main view, click on Create Heat Map. There are 2 types of heat maps that can be created. Heat maps for simple pages or heat maps for multiple pages sharing similar layouts. Like for example, if you have product pages that are exactly the same regardless of the product. In our example, we create a heat map for a specific page. Add a name to your heat map. Select the number of page views it should record. Select the page you want to analyze. Lastly, click on Create. Your heat map is now collecting data. Wait for visitors to interact with the page and check out the results in a few days. After enough data will be gathered. This all depends, of course, on how much traffic you have on your website. Let's now look at some heat map examples. The beauty of visitor analytics is that you can easily switch between types of heat maps of the same page, from click to move to scroll. So you can go from a map of the clicks to a scroll map all in the same window. Now let's look at what we have here as an example. This is a click heat map, and we can easily see that the most clicked areas are the sign in button and the flag that we have on the page. The other areas have colder colors, so we can assume that we get not so many clicks. It's a bit of a problem that we don't have too many clicks on the try free plan button, and this area is quite cold. Now if we move and go to the move heat map, we're going to be able to see where the mouse has moved preponderantly. And we have red areas right here in the menu, in the header. Again, on the flag and the sign in button, the entire menu section of the page is very hot. So is the first paragraph right here on the left. And we seem to get quite a bit of red areas right here on the right. And I would assume that this is because this is where users click and then scroll. Again, maybe not so much activity as we would like on the big button saying try free plan. We're now going to look at the scroll map as well. This measures how far users scroll on average on the page. Obviously, the first part, the top part of the page will always be hotter, like in this example. Dark red, that's where all the users start from. But then, as we scroll down below this try free plan, things start to get a bit yellowish. This means that fewer people have reached this part of the page. And as we go even further down, quite soon we get into a greenish, bluish area, and then it gets really darker and darker blue, which means that by this time, this part of the page was not reached by almost anybody.